Hi everyone, welcome to another one of our LinkedIn Live events. Today's topic is going to be on the untold secrets of money trauma. So, today's topic is purely going to be about money. We are going to understand money from different aspects, be it mindset, be it trauma, be it looking at it from a perspective of how to make more of it and how to have a healthy relationship with money, right? So, by the way, if you are inside my community, of a trauma informed bootcamp. So therein I've already recorded a really wonderful class. It's available for free. It is on overcoming career and money trauma. So if you're ever interested in getting that, you can just like DM me bootcamp, and I'll just give you the WhatsApp link, and then you can find the classes there in the group itself. And if you are someone who is attending this live event for the very first time, how we go about this live event is that I'm going to explain to you a topic in depth, and this is a dialogue, right? This is not a monologue. So, in between, if you have any questions, you want to ask something, you can always ask, like wherever you're watching this live event from, like in the LinkedIn comment section, or you can just DM me as well. And I do check my phone in the middle for questions, so I will reply to you there. And if you're someone who's watching this as a recording on YouTube, so you can just put your questions in the comment section, or if you are in any of my WhatsApp communities, and you can of course just DM me on WhatsApp as well. And if you're interested in like understanding the world of trauma work and understanding how childhood trauma really affects us, and how it impacts our career, relationship, and other areas of our life, I have a wonderful 4-day boot camp on healing childhood trauma. It's again available for free, and you can find that um, in my feature section of LinkedIn. So I'm just going to quickly see if my internet is fine. And just to like give a heads up, in case my video does go here and there, please forgive me for that, because I'm not really at my place. I'm in my hometown, so sometimes the internet isn't that great here. Okay, so far I think we're doing good. I can't tell. I really don't like checking my phone for this, but I have been burnt before. I have had my internet crash on me before, and it was really terrible, so I have to be mindful of it. Okay, so let's start, right? Before we move on to understanding money trauma, let's first understand what money actually is, right? So, if I ask you what is money, what would you tell me? Obviously, it's going to be a very common definition for most of us, that it is something that we use to buy something. It is something that we use as a medium of exchange, which is, which is right. We do use money as a medium of exchange. However, money in itself doesn't really mean anything, right? Like money, the invention of money. I think there's something wrong with the focus. Okay, just let it be. So, money doesn't actually mean anything, right? Money was just a replacement of the barter system, right? So, if you are not aware, barter system is nothing but a system that we used to earlier follow to basically facilitate the economy, right? So, how do you like what used to happen in barter system is that, for example, let's say you have a bag of rice and I have a bag of feet. So, we are going to exchange it for exchange it with each other, right? So, you're going to get a bag of wheat. I'm going to get a bag of rice. Now, the problem with barter system was that for me to buy something, I need to have the exact thing that the um, seller also wants, right? So for example, let's say if I want a bag of rice, then I'm going to come to you to get it. Then you also need to want a bag of wheat that I have. So it was very complicated, right? It was very limiting, very complicated, and it was not something that could scale. So to replace that, we started using a standard form of like currency. So we started with gold, right? We used to use gold as a standard currency, and then we moved on to like normal currency, like rupees, dollar, won, ruble, and stuff like that. So that is what money is. Okay, money is a medium of exchange. Inherently, it doesn't mean anything. If we decided that we are going to consider mangoes as a medium of exchange, people are going to start hoarding mangoes. So that's how meaningless money in itself really is. It's just a medium of exchange. Now, the interesting thing about money is that it means different things to different people. Okay, even though money is a medium of exchange, we all know that. But because money doesn't have a voice of its own, right? Money is quite neutral. It's like a blank canvas. And you paint on that blank canvas, which is money, with your emotions. So that is why money means different thing for different people. For some of you, it may mean freedom. Like more money means more freedom. For some of you, it would be more money means more security. For some of you, it would be more money means more self respect, more status, more ways I can relax in my life, right? Different things to different people, right? And how you really look at money, right? And what you feel about money and what you think about money, how you um, deal with money in general in day to day life is what we call your money story, right? So your money story is nothing but the story that you tell yourself about money, and your money story is what determines how much money you actually make in life. And the thing with your money story is that it's quite nuanced and it is very personal to you, right? Each one of us have a different money story. In fact, money stories are different in different communities as well. For example, let's say some communities deal with money from a place of abundance, whereas some communities may deal with money from a place of scarcity. For example, there's a running joke, right? About our community. So I'm from a Marwadi community, that Marwadis don't are very stingy and they don't really like to spend money. So this is something that is sort of a fable in our community. Whereas like there is this thing again, I'm talking from my community, that Marwadis like to spend a lot on weddings and homes and stuff like that. So basically, money stories are very prevalent, right? It's very cultural in nature, and it is something that passed down from family to family as well, and it is also very personal to you. So money story, your money story has like it's and bits of everything, right? So for example, whatever my money story is going to be, it is going to come from multiple places. So majorly, first is going to be the culture that I grew up in. So for example, I come from Marwadi culture, and um, something that I've always seen growing up is that taking risk was encouraged in our household when it comes to like our career, because Marwadis are usually people in business. We were always told to take risks. So doing a business, taking risk sort of came easily to me. Like it wasn't like a big deal in our house. We were always encouraged. Whereas I have a friend who comes from a different community, and he was always told that doing a business is very risky, and that he should never really do it, or that he should always be careful with his money, or that you should stick to a job. So because of it, his risk taking ability in reference to money was a bit low than mine, right? Similarly, um, in my household, right, specifically, spending money on things like weddings, or maybe buying a car, or maybe buying a house is something that's very normal. But when it comes to spending money on, let's say, your health, right, or let's say experiences, is not something that my family like really understands. For example, if I go and tell my family that I've spent so much on my own healing and own inner work, then they may not understand it. But if I tell them that, okay, I've spent this much on buying, let's say, a house or things like that, again, right, they will understand it. So how we spend money also is borrowed from multiple places. So this I'm talking about just culture, because that is also a very big part of it. For example, in India itself, right, when it comes to investing in your own mental health, it's still a very big taboo, because we glamorize struggle. We glamorize that someone who's not taking help is somehow strong. Whereas if you go to the West, going to therapy, going to coaching is a very normal thing, right? It is like a part and parcel of their lives, right? It is not something that is looked at as, oh my god, you're going to therapy, or that you have a coach, or like in our country, people wait for things to get worse to spend money on their own brain, right? Versus in West, right, they take care of the problem, because again, the conversation about mental health is very open. So the ability to spend money on mental health is something that's higher there. Similarly, if you go to countries like US, like if you go to countries in US or Europe, and you tell them that take out loans to sponsor your wedding, or invite 800 900 people to your wedding, they're going to call you crazy, right? Their weddings are intimate. The people who are getting married sponsor their own weddings most of the times, whereas in India that's not the case. Like most of the times when you're getting married, your parents are sponsoring your wedding most of the times, not for a lot of people. And weddings are a status symbol, so people tend to spend a lot on weddings, which is just a 3-day function if you think about it. So how we spend money, right, is a result of our money story. So the first thing to understand is that money is very personal to each one of us. How we think about money, how we feel about money, how we spend money is very personal, and is a result of the stories that we have lived throughout. So today I will majorly be talking about the strongest story related to money, that actually starts from your household. right? Which is your childhood, which is the experiences that you have had, and of course the the money trauma part of it. So I just wanted to tell you that your money story can come from many places. Today we are going to look at one aspect. So specifically when I'm working with my clients in my private coaching container, and I'm helping them with the money story, we try to look at their money story in depth, right? It is not just a result of key this is how you should spend money, or this is how it is. We look at my client's internal family system, and we see that okay, where exactly is the money wound line, right? So today I want to talk about that majorly, which is how our money story is defined from our childhood experiences, because that's the strongest story you're going to have. See, when it comes to cultural money stories, you can change it. For example, let's say you are in India right now, and let's say you move to the US uh, for a few years for work purposes or whatever. The cultural money story you may have will be very open to change. Okay, so for example, let's say in the house that you grew up in, um, or let's say the culture that you grew up in, right? People spend a lot on weddings. Okay, that's a very cultural thing. Let's say, and when you move to the US, you see that okay, people don't really do that, and you don't have to actually spend a lot of money on your wedding. So it's very changeable. But when it comes to money story that has been derived from your childhood experiences, that's very strong, and that's one of the major reasons why people are unable to change their money story, which is what ultimately controls how much money you make in life, how much money you're actually able to save and invest, and how much money you're able to like multiply in your life, right? Because money is not just about making it, it's also about can you hold it, right? For some people, holding money is very difficult. The moment they earn, they will self sabotage, right? They will do something that will lead to money going away, right? So that is all a result of money story. Okay, so before I move, I'm just going to check my internet again, because I don't know, I'm paranoid that my internet is working or not. The last live event I did, uh, the first 10 minutes of it is in a really, really poor condition, because my internet went to shit in the first 10 minutes. So I don't want it to happen this time as well. So, okay, I'm unable to really see. Okay, I don't know why it's not loading, but I'm just going to hope that it's working, and we're just going to continue. Okay, yeah. I'm just going to hope it's working, because really I can't see, I think. Okay. All right. So, as I said, there are money stories defined by multiple things. I just spoke about the culture part, but let's talk about the major thing, right? The meat of the story. So, the very first thing is our childhood experiences with money. So, see, as I told you, right, money is a blank canvas. Our understanding of money comes from the things that we've learned about it. It is not an innate understanding. Like, you're not born from your mother's womb thinking that this is what money means, right? And that is one of the reasons why all of our relationship with money is so different. Like, you may have a sibling whose relationship with money is extremely different than you may have a cousin whose relationship with money is very different from you, even though you may be the part of same culture, you may be part of, let's say, the same family system. And that is because of your childhood experiences with money, right? So for example, let's say you grew up where you saw that when it comes to money, everybody was very careful, right? Like, whenever it came to, let's say, buying something, the first thing that you would think about is, okay, how much it costs, or oh no, it's too expensive, let us buy something cheaper. And you would see your parents spending a lot of time finding out a cheaper alternative than to actually buy whatever they wanted to buy, right? So that can shape your understanding of money that way, that there should always be a cheaper option. For example, you must have seen some people, even though they find what they want to buy, they still look for options again and again, right? They are always looking for discounts, and they get more satisfaction from getting a discount than to actually buy something and move on in their life, right? For example, let's say I want to buy an AC, okay, and I have certain criteria, and I found an AC with a certain criteria. um, and somewhere, let's say it's in my price point also, okay, maybe it's a little bit more than my price point. So the easiest thing for me would be to actually buy that AC, get back to my house and move on with my life. But let's say that I've always seen my parents tell me that there is always a better deal, there is always, something cheaper you can get. So my understanding is going to be that no, something cheap, I have to find something cheaper, so I'm going to waste my time, right, haggling with the salesperson, or I'm going to spend days and days researching about the AC. So I value the amount I'm paying for the AC more than my own time, when in reality time is finite. Money is not, money is infinite, right? And instead of spending my time making more money, or spending my time actually appreciating the fact that I can buy an AC, I would spend time trying to get a discount, right? Or for example, let's say some people who prefer buying cheaper things that they know that will get damaged in a few months, let's say. They prefer doing that than to buy a high quality expensive stuff that is going to last them for a long time, right? So this isn't logical, right? Like for example, if I want to buy a shirt, okay, and I know that if I buy, let's say, something from Calvin Klein, or let's say Nike, okay, right, a very common brand. I know that if I buy a Nike shirt, it's going to last me like for a few years. It's going to last me. It's good quality, but it's a little bit expensive. Let's say it's like about 3-4 thousand. Whereas I can go to a local store, or let's say not even local store. Let's say I go to West Side, okay, and I get something from there for 1100 rupees, right, 1100 rupees. So I'm going to buy something from West Side that's not going to last me years. That's probably going to last me a year, hardly more than that, and then the quality of the cloth is going to come apart, right? So obviously I'm going to have to buy again, right? I'm going to have to buy that again, and the cycle will continue, right? So I would have spent 6000 rupees in 5 years to buy that, let's say, one solid shirt, one white solid shirt, as compared to if I would have just bought a good quality Nike white shirt which would have lasted me 5 years, right? And let's say that was 3500, and this I've spent 5000 or 6000 rupees. So you understand, right? There is no logical sense in what I'm doing, but there is a deep satisfaction that I'm making the cheaper choice. So I'm somehow smart with money. So your childhood experiences shape a lot as to the decisions that you make in life. So again, right? I'll give you an example. I had a clarity call with someone. I had a consultation call with someone a year and a half back, and at that point of time, I was charging a certain amount, and they came to me and they really wanted to work with me, and they said that Rianchi, it's too expensive and everything. We had a long conversation. It's not like they couldn't afford it; they could afford it very well. The only issue was that they wanted to look for a cheaper option. Right. So I said that unfortunately, I run a full practice and I don't offer any discounts, and this is what it is. And if you feel that it's not something that works for you, then that's completely fine. So this person went and they looked around for therapists and everything. They tried working with a few people, it didn't work out for them. And the most important thing that I missed telling you is that the reason this person was coming to work with me was because they were facing anxiety issues in their workplace, right? And because of which their performance was getting affected, and the what do you call it, rapport that they had with their manager was getting affected. So he was at a risk of losing his job, basically. So he tried to work around that. He tried to go to a few therapists and all of that, and then he came to me like, I think maybe 8 or 9 months later, telling me that, Yanshi, I've spent money trying to work with other people. It did not work with me. I'm going to leave my job because the situation at work has become quite hostile. Me and my manager not getting along at all, and I'm very afraid of him and stuff like that. And I really want to work on it. And at that point of time, my charges were a little bit higher, right? He did pay for it, but the point is that he wasted his time, right? The job that he had to, like, he had to leave it because things became so worse, and he also wasted money here and there. So because this loyalty that he had, because we spoke about this and he told me that Yanchi is just this thing in my head that I can always find a cheaper option, so I went with that, right? So the point is that when we are wired like that I can just find something else, or let's say other money behaviors. For example, some people love haggling, some people love bargaining, they find joy in it, they think that they're winning some battle, right? So when you have conditioning like that, then your focus is not really on money as a tool. Your focus becomes on, what am I getting out of it, right? Because as I said, right, money is nothing but a tool. It doesn't mean anything. What means is what we get in exchange of money. So your relationship with money is quite subjective, and it is related to the childhood experiences that you've had. For example, let's say growing up, you always saw your parents sacrificing uh, on like simple things, like they would not buy clothes for themselves, or they would not buy high quality things for themselves. But when it comes to, let's say, spending on weddings, spending on gifting other people, they would do that. So now you also may have that same quality. Like when it comes to buying things for yourself, you don't do it. But when it comes to gifting other people, then it's a status symbol that, oh, the kind of gift we are giving represents our family, so let me give a great gift, right? And similarly, let's say that you always saw your father always like scolding you for spending money on yourself or himself, but when it come to, let's say, giving to his relatives, he would give money very freely. So now you grew up believing that it's so difficult to spend money on myself. When I think about spending money on myself, this is guilt comes in, right? But when it comes to spending money on people I love, I am able to do that freely. How ironic, right? So you may have very illogical money behaviors based on childhood experiences that you've had, right? And childhood experiences consist of things that you were rewarded for, the things that your family considered, good. Okay, I just want to check if my okay, yeah, it's fine. um the next thing is that what money meant in your family, right? So, for example, let's say if you grew up in a financially unstable home, money meant freedom, money meant respect, money meant that if you have more money, you have more respect in the family. So now growing up, you believe that if I don't make enough money, it means that I'm not going to get respect in society, or people are not going to respect me in my family. And you always saw your parents emphasize that make a lot of money, money is how the world is run, and money is where the power is. So now you associate it with that. So, what money meant in your family is also going to shape what money means to you, right? If you believe that if I have more money, people are going to like me more, people are going to respect me more, I will have the upper hand, I will have the power. So now you associate money with power. Similarly, let's say you saw that growing up, you had to take permission for everything from your parents, right? And you believe that if I have money, then I'm going to not have to take permission, I'm going to have freedom. So now you associate money with freedom, right? So you believe that if I make more money, I'm going to have more freedom. And the problem with these kind of statements and the problem with these kind of money stories is that you end up in situations where you don't want to be in. You end up being slave to money because you believe that if I have more money, I'm going to have that feeling, right? That feeling, the feeling of power, the feeling of freedom, the feeling of choices. When in reality, that's a misconception that you sort of connected when you were young and now you're still carrying it. I'm not saying that money doesn't mean freedom or money may not give you choices. It will, but it does not give you to that extent that you think it does. Right. So, for example, if you believe that money gives me freedom, so you may end up in jobs that you don't want to do. You're really unhappy, but you are hoarding money, thinking that, okay, one day at 35, 40, if I have this much money, I will leave my job. So you are willing to be unhappy for, let's say, 10, 15, 20 years than to actually fix your relationship with money, to actually experience freedom right in this moment instead of associating it with money. So that is how our money story controls us. When our money story is linked to feelings, which is what it usually is, and instead of fixing those feelings, right? For example, let's say if I am very scared, let's say if I'm very scared and I'm going to be poor one day, and because of which I keep hoarding money, and to keep hoarding money, I keep doing toxic jobs, I keep burning out, I keep working many many hours because I'm afraid I will run out of money. Instead of fixing that fear that I will one day run out of money, I run after money, right? So what is this going to lead to? I'm going to burn out, I'm going to feel exhausted, I'm going to hate my work, I'm going to believe that making money is so difficult, I'm going to become more paranoid about money over a period of time. But the problem is not that, right? The problem is not money. Nobody told me to burn out. The problem is that I have an unhealthy relationship with money and I am not fixing that. I think that money is going to resolve it. The problem here is my fear of poverty, my fear of depending on someone, my fear of, I'm going to have to ask money from someone and that's going to be so disrespectful. That's my fear. That's the story I need to work on. That's the inner work I need. But I believe that money will fix it. And it doesn't. It really doesn't. The fear never goes away because money was never the solution to this. You think it's a solution, it's not really the solution, right? And this also leads to the third part, which is what is the meaning you ended up assigning to money, right? The meaning that you end up assigning to money is going to also determine how much money, like how you really look at money, right? Like is money a tool for you, or is money a sense of something for you? Because see, right, money in the end is tool, right? Like it's something that you use as a medium of exchange. But let's say if money means freedom to you, so you keep running after money thinking I'm running after my freedom. You keep running after money thinking you're running out of you're running after respect. If I have more money, I will have more respect. If I have more money, people will like me. If I have more money, my parents will like me more. For example, some people also have this fear that if I don't have money, my parents are going to not be proud of me. My parents are going to look down on me and stuff like that, right? So here the problem is not money. The problem is not that you have to run after money. The problem is that you have a relationship with your parents that is not healthy. That is what you need to work on, not running after money, which is what most people get confused. Okay, now two major reasons. Um, okay, I think I'm back now. Okay, I'm going to check if everything is okay because for some reason something happened. Can someone tell me if they can see me and hear me properly? Okay. All right. Thank you so much for letting me know. I am having internet issues here, so I'm really sorry for this, but it may happen again. So I'm apologizing beforehand. Thank you for being patient. Okay. Now, coming to money and the mother wound. Okay, this is a very important part. And if you have attended my free bootcamp on healing childhood trauma, you will have in depth information about this already. But if you have not, go watch it. It's amazing. It's going to answer so many of your questions. It's going to stop your search of why is my life like this? Why am I like this? It's going to answer everything. You can just find it in the feature section of my profile, or you can just DM me bootcamp and I'll be happy to send it to you. Now, coming to the money and the mother wound part. So, let me first talk about what mother wound actually means, okay? So, mother wound is basically a result of you not having a great relationship with your mother, right? And whatever repercussions that happens in your life as a result of not having a great relationship with mother is what we call mother wound. Now, when I say great relationship, I don't mean that your mother does not love you or you don't love your mother. Of course, that can be the cases as well. But here I'm talking about mother wound in terms of how were you able to actually receive your mother in your life, right? So mother wound is a result of you not having a consistent and loving relationship with your mother, which means that both the qualities need to be satisfied. For some people, they have had a loving relationship with their mother in childhood, and this applies to childhood only, okay, not now, childhood. They had a loving relationship with their mother, but it was not consistent, which means that their mother was never really present for them. She was always busy with housework, or maybe she was working, maybe she was engrossed in her grief, or maybe she was let's say tending to your father, maybe she was tending to her in-laws, so she could not be present with you, right? So that results into a break in the that results in a break in the bond with your mother, right? So that gives birth to mother wound. Similarly, let's say that your mother was present for you, right? She was there for you, but you did not have a very loving relationship with your mother. She was very critical, she was judgmental, or she never really understood you, or she was very strict. She would suppress you, she would always tell you how to be, how not to be, right? So that also creates a mother wound. Similarly, if your mother passed away, or you had to live apart from your mother for a long period of time, or let's say that something or other kept happening which disturbed your relationship with your mother, so that all constitutes to mother wound. Because you need to understand that how you learn to receive in your life is with your mother, okay? When you are inside your mother's womb, right, when she's pregnant with you, you receive nourishment from her, you receive life force from her. When you come out of your mother's womb, she literally feeds you from her body, right? So everything that you learn to receive in life, it is from your mother. So when you have a mother wound, right, it also means that you do not know how to receive in life. And money is about receiving. Money is not about going out there and always struggling for it or earning it, okay? A big part of people who feel abundant or have abundance in their life is that they are open to receiving it. I'll give you a small example, okay, of the mother wound and how it actually manifests, right? So let's say there is person A and there is person B. Okay, both of them are struggling with their confidence. Both of them are in the same company. Both of them are up for a promotion, and they're struggling with confidence, and that is hindering their ability to actually show up at work. Okay, and they both want to invest in their inner work, and they have inquired, right, and they really like the person they want to work with, but for some reason at that particular point of time they don't have the money to invest in themselves. Maybe they invested it somewhere, or they want to use it for something else. For some reason right now they don't have the cash for it, okay? um, Person A decides that, you know what, I think I'm just going to borrow it from my partner, or maybe a friend, or maybe my parent, and I'm going to invest in myself because I'm up for a promotion in a few months and I really want to get going, and I really want to work on my confidence so that I can leverage this. So he does that, okay? He goes and he, let's say, borrows money from his partner or friend or parent, and he starts working on his confidence. He starts doing the inner work that he needs to do. Person B also is in the same position, and person A suggests person B that why don't you also ask money from someone and just invest in yourself, and you can always give them back. Like you are doing a job, you're making money, give it back to them slowly. But this is really important. You're up for promotion, and you don't want to sabotage, right, yourself. And when person B thinks of borrowing money, the first thought is, oh my god, I can't do this, I can't borrow money. What will people think of me if I borrow money? What if the person I'm borrowing money from, let's say I'm borrowing money from my friend, what if he calls me up and asks me for one day and I don't have it? What if I lose my job? What if I'm unable to give it back? Right? So this person decides that no, I'm not going to borrow money. It is just not possible for me, and he stays like that. Obviously, person B keeps on struggling. He's not able to either get a promotion, or when he does not get the promotion, he doesn't even have the confidence to go out and look for other jobs. Whereas person A works on his confidence, gets the promotion, or even if he doesn't get the promotion, he just goes out and looks for another job and gets it, and ends up making far more money than what he invested in himself. So what did we see here? Person A looked at money as money, right? He looked at money as a tool to facilitate his life. He did not care about where the money was coming from. So his receiving was open, right? He was open to receive money from anywhere. He was okay to look at the borrowed money as a tool. For example, if you look at people who take out loans from banks to invest in their businesses, do they look at it as, oh my god, I can't touch it, this is bank's money? No, they look at it as a gift. They look at it as, okay, now I have the capital to invest in my business, and my business is going to make even more money, right? Person B did not do that. For person B, money was not money. Money was self-respect. Money was, oh my god, I can't borrow money. So what did he do? He self-sabotaged. He did not work on himself. As a result, his money wound was still there. He ended up sabotaging his promotion. He ended up sabotaging the chance of making even more money. So all in all, he lost more money, right? Whereas person A leveled up, got new job or a promotion, made more money, and is more confident now. So it was a win-win-win situation for him. Why? Because he did not look at money as a sense of self-respect or attaching some emotion to it, right? Money was just a tool to him. For person B, it wasn't. That is what we call the receiving wound, right? This is just one example. Some other examples are that, let's say someone wants to do something for you, someone wants to gift you something. Your first instinct is, oh my god, I can't take it. Or you start calculating in your head, oh, this person has gifted me for this much money, I need to give it back. For you, it's very transactional in your head. Everything is mathematics in your head. You find it very difficult to receive in life. You find it very difficult to just take help in life, right? You are very rigid that money can come to me in only one way. I need to earn it. You don't understand leverage. When someone has a receiving wound, they don't understand leverage. They don't understand the power of a loan, right? Let's say you're taking loans from somewhere. Some people who have a receiving wound, they don't understand the power of it. People who don't have the receiving wound, they understand the power of it. They understand how money makes more money, right? So that is what receiving wound is. You you find it very difficult to receive money, right? So for example, let's say um, you want to ask for more money at your job, right? Or you're, let's say, doing a business, you want to raise the prices of your product and services. Your first instinct is, I need to justify it. I need to justify why I am asking for this much money. Why? Because this is the exact relationship you had with your mother growing up. The distance that you feel with money in terms of receiving it is the same distance you felt with your mother. If you believe I need to work very, very hard to make money, it's because growing up, you had to work hard to receive mom's love and mom's attention. She was not always present for you. You had to do something. You had to either go and get great marks, you had to do something that would please her, you had to do something to receive her. So now when it comes to money as well, you think that I need to do something, I need to justify it. You don't believe, like, even though logically you would want, it would be so nice to ask money, it would be so nice to receive money, when it actually comes, you don't want to. You find it very difficult. For example, let's say a friend tells you that, why don't you invest in your mental health? Why don't you invest in yourself? I will lend you the money. Your first reaction is, no, 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 I can't. That's receiving wound. That's not self respect. A lot of people confuse it, but that's just a fancy word. That's receiving wound because to you, you don't understand the leverage of money. And everything that you feel about money in terms of earning it, in terms of getting it, it's the same thing you felt about your mother. So if you believe that money is so hard, I want to hoard it, it is because growing up you had to hoard your mother's love and attention because she was not always there for you. So now you feel the same way about money, because money is also receiving, and you learn to receive from your mother. Now The next thing I'm going to talk about is the relationship that, okay, so just another point that I want to mention, and I wrote about it in a post, I think a couple of days back, wherein I also wrote about that the relationship that, the kind of life your mother has lived, right, also determines how much she can nourish you. So when I say nourish you, I don't just mean from food, I mean emotionally nourish you, because a child absorbs everything that his mother is feeling, that her mother is feeling, right? So let's say your mom always, had a lot of fear about money. She always believed that she had to depend on other people. She always told you work hard for money. So you absorbed her fear as well from her, right? Because again, right, kids absorb their parents' energies. We also call this intergenerational trauma. So you absorb that fear, right? You absorb it and you keep it in your chest, and then you also behave with money the same way. That's also a part of mother wound. Mother wound is quite detailed. It's a little bit nuanced than just this simply I'm telling you. But just to explain to you what it does when you have the mother wound, right? It blocks your receiving. For example, I once spoke to a woman, and she told me that, Rianshi, it could have been so easy if I would have just asked for more money. So she was a freelancer, I think, and she said that I didn't, because I always felt that I had to justify to someone. So I kept on working a lot more for very less prices, because every time I would think about raising my price, I would get scared that I would have to justify myself, or that how can I charge more money for the same service I'm doing, right? So that's being emotional about it, right? Now let's talk about the father wound. Okay, I'm going to check again if my internet is fine. I'm going to see some comments. Oh, there is a random guy who has asked me why you look sad. Do I look sad? And I see a lot of spam comments from this particular person. I'm thinking this person is jobless or probably bored or a creep. We don't know. Love reading these comments though. Usually I don't receive such comments, but it's always a surprise. LinkedIn can surprise you. Okay, I don't see any questions as of now. So I'm going to stick to what I was saying. Now, coming to the father wound and the capability to create money. So let's talk about what exactly is the father wound and what exactly it means. So again, father wound is nothing but when you have not shared a loving and consistent relationship with your father. So what does it actually mean? Let's say that your father was consistently there for you, which means that you saw him every day. He came from office. He was there in your house, and you saw him, but you never really shared a loving relationship with him. You never felt emotionally close to him. You never felt safe around him. You never felt, how do I put it? You never felt like I could go to him just the way, let's say, you felt with your mother. Like you felt like I can share my life with him. You felt that emotional shut down from him, right? So there was always a wall. So that means that dad was there, right, like physically present, but emotionally he was absent. Now let's come to the lack of consistency part. Let's say that you shared a loving relationship with your father, you felt close to him, but he was never really there physically, which means that, let's say, he always had to travel for work, or he always had to do something or the other. He could not be present with you. He was very busy with other things, or he was always engaged in his side of the family, or his work took a lot of time. And of course, if he passed away or something, right? So again, the consistency is gone there. So we have to satisfy both the conditions, right? The parent has to be consistent and the parent has to be loving. When that is not there, either both the conditions are absent or one is absent, it leads to the wound, and in case the father wound. So the father wound is usually characterized by you not feeling safe, you being very distrustful of people, and distrustful in general, and you lacking confidence. So when you have a father wound, You're going to lack confidence. You're not going to feel safe in your body. Confidence is nothing but feeling safe in your body. You're going to be very distrustful of the world. You're going to not trust things easily. You are always going to be quite suspicious. Will this work out? Will this not work out? You're going to spend a lot of time ruminating about your own capabilities, right? So you don't believe in your capabilities. So in the mother wound, we studied that it blocks your receiving, right? It kind of interferes with, can you receive money or not? Or you become very rigid about it, right? So struggle is there. In father wound, what happens is that your capability to create money becomes difficult. So let's take an example. Okay, let's say that I am a great artist. Okay, I love painting, and I can do great, like great at painting. But whenever I think about making it a career, the first thought that comes up to me is, oh my god, how can I even do that? Or there is no way painting can be a career. This is just, only possible for rich people. This is only possible for people who have a lot of money, or people who have connections. So what is happening? I'm distrustful, right? I don't trust that this is going to work out for me. Another thing that can happen is that I feel that, oh yeah, I'm good at painting, but I'm not that great. I don't believe in myself, or I keep on doubting my ability, that it's not good enough. Maybe it's not good enough to put out, or that who is going to buy from me and stuff like that. So that's lack of confidence, right? Or let's say that I managed to put myself out there. The moment I get the first rejection, the moment, let's say someone tells me that, oh, are you sure this is something you want to put out? That's when I lose all my confidence. So I don't feel safe in my body. I'm looking for validation and safety outside of me. And because what is validation? It's a sense of safety we are looking for. So father wound interferes in your capability to create money. If I would have felt safe in my body, if I would have been confident, I would have spent all my time enhancing my craft, right? I would have spent all my time making my craft better and better and better. But because I have the father wound, because I don't believe in myself, because I don't believe I can actually progress in what I'm doing, I don't do it. Instead, I decide that I am going to do something that feels conventionally safe, because I lack safety inside. So what feels like a conventional option? Do an MBA, become a CA, do engineering, or let's say that my father, I never had a good relationship with my father, and my father used to look at people who are in the civil services at a very like he used to idolize people who are in civil services. So I'm going to start preparing for UPSC. So what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to move towards my natural talent, right? I am going to go against it. I'm going to move towards something that feels conventionally safe. And obviously, I'm going to struggle in it, right? Because it is easier to succeed in what you're naturally good at. For example, I have good emotional intelligence, right? Now, let's say I decide to become an engineer. Can I not become it? Yeah, sure, if I try very hard. But it's going to take me a lot of time, because I'm not naturally good at physics. I will have to put in a lot of effort. Versus when I studied psychology, or when the work that I'm doing right now, it was very easy for me to succeed here. So, how much money you make in your life is also a result of, are you doing something that you're naturally good at? Are you capitalizing on the existing strength, the existing leverage that you have? When I have a father wound, I don't do that, because I don't believe in myself. So I'm going to, let's say, prepare for UPSC, or I'm going to prepare for MBA, or let's say I even do get a job after an MBA. Every single day I'm working in something that I don't want to do. I have to put double the effort, because I don't actually like what I'm doing. So I'm going to complain making money is so hard. I'm struggling so much. But the truth is that I did not believe in myself enough. I did not have the confidence in myself. I did not trust myself or the world that things will work out for me. And that is why I went down another path. And that is how I interfered in my ability to create money. And that is why making money now is difficult for me, because I am doing something that I'm not naturally aligned with. So that is also what happens to a lot of people. They assume making money is difficult, but when it comes to actually taking the path that is easy for them, right? They don't take it. Why? Distrust, lack of confidence, not believing in yourself, believing that things will just not work out. Or there could be other options where you have a lot of fear that, "Oh, I'm going to run out of money, it will not happen for me, or I'm going to have to depend on someone," and other things, right? So father wound interferes in your ability to create money like this. Now, let's say that I have both mother and father wound both, right? Let's say, again, let's take the same example. I'm a great painter, and I want to enroll myself into a course which is going to teach me how to set up my online business. Okay, let's say that. So I'm going to require money for it, and let's say I don't have money, okay, and I can take it from someone. Maybe I can take it from my parent, or maybe I can take it from a friend, whatever. If I have the mother wound, the first thing that's going to come to me is I can't take money. I cannot. If I take money, then I'm going to justify it. How can I ask money? What will people think of me? It means I'm weak. I don't have self respect. All that thing about receiving block. So the first self rejection is right there. I've rejected the opportunity to for money to come easily into my life, right? Because see, when someone is giving you money, either it be it through a bank loan, or let's say you have a relationship with someone and they lend you money, it's just you leveraging with your connections, right? People do it all the time, but for you it's a very big deal, because for you it's something else. If I have the father wound, then I'm going to convince myself out of my career of being a painter, because I'm going to think it's never going to work out for you. Look at world, it's so difficult for people to make money. Why do you think it will work out for you? Or that this will happen, that will happen. So that is again where I will reject myself. So a lot of people who struggle with money a lot have both the wounds. For some people who share like a friend and foe relationship with money, they could have either the mother wound or the father wound, but it's somewhere present, and that is what gives birth to the money trauma. Now let's talk about the last part, which is how do you actually heal money trauma, right? Again, before I go here, I'm going to check if you have any questions or if my internet is working fine. Okay, I think now the internet is okay. Now let's move on to how to heal your money trauma, right? So when it comes to healing your money trauma, you have to look at your story deeply instead of from a superficial level, right? So when it comes to healing money trauma, a lot of people stick to superficial questions like, "Give me a hack, give me this, give me that," and I always think about it that if you think hack existed, don't you think we all would have had it by now? We all would have gotten it by now. It doesn't exist, right? How much money you make in life is a result of multiple things, right? And today we studied that it is also your inner landscape, and your inner landscape determines your outer landscape. For example, you can have all the talent in the world, yet when you have receiving blocks in life, when you have mother and father wound, that talent doesn't translate to money. For example, I also work with a lot of coaches. I also I'm a business coach, so I also coach life coaches around how to set up their businesses, and I see this all the time. They are great people, right? They have a lot of talent, and they have a lot of potential, but because there's a lot of money blocks, they're unable to capitalize on it. So there is no hack, but nothing. There is no hack. There is no trick or tip, but to understand your inner landscape, right? So the very first thing you need to do is you need to understand your money story. How do you do that? Is a few questions. I want you to write down your top three beliefs about money, right? When I say top three beliefs, it could be anything. That this is what you believe about money. It could be money is easy, money is hard, money makes you selfish, or money makes you this or that, whatever, right? Top three beliefs. That's the first thing. The second thing I want you to do is I want you to write about what are your fears about money, right? What are your top three fears about money? And again, this could be anything. The third thing I want you to journal on is more money means more dash. Fill in the blank. So, for example, more money means more freedom. It could be that for you. More money means more options. It could be that for you. More money means more luxury. It could be that for you. That is going to give you an insight into what you believe money is going to get you, right? And when you get that insight, it gives you a starting point to actually what I need to work on. Because you have to understand money is never really the issue, it is always something else. Money is nothing but a result of the value you create into the world. So your job is not to obsess over the money, your job should be obsessing about the value. So for example, let's say that I'm sitting here, okay, I'm doing this event for you. I'm talking to you. Let's say I have a lot to speak, but I don't believe in myself, right? So I have a lot of value, but I'm unable to create it properly. Or let's say that even if I'm creating it, I don't have faith in myself that people are going to receive it. So that will discourage me further to create value. So my problem is not money. My problem is, am I able to create value or not? And in whatever way you create value, that is what results into money. And value could be anything, by the way, right? For example, so this is an example I give to a lot of people. I think you all must be aware of OnlyFans, right? OnlyFans is a platform where a lot of men and women sort of sell like adult videos and pictures and stuff, sort of that, and people have made a lot of money from it. And a lot of people have problem with OnlyFans platform, and I find it very funny, because you have to realize it is a classic example of value, what value is. See, in when someone is on an OnlyFans platform, let's say they're putting out an adult video, they're putting out a picture, and a lot of people argue that why are people buying from OnlyFans models? It's available on normal pornography websites. Why don't you go and get it from there? But the problem is not that. The problem is, or the not the problem. I would say the premise is that there is someone out there who values that this picture is exclusively for me, so he is paying for it, which is mostly men. Men are the ones who are running the OnlyFans platform. To be honest, they are funding it, right? So value can be anything, right? It can be something people are doing in an OnlyFans model. It can be someone giving a speech. It can be someone selling something. It can be anything. So value is what gets you money, right? And value can be anything. Like for example, I remember this funny anecdote that my coach told me a while back, and he said that there is a woman in Britain who sold farts in a jar for I think $500, and people bought it. How insane is that, right? For us it could be stupid, but there is someone out there, for that person that fart was valuable, so he paid money for it. So understand that there is no hack or tip or trick for money, but just to create value. What value you create, that is something that becomes clearer to you when you do more inner work, when you have more clarity, when you become more decisive and confident in life. And how you can create value, how you can create it in a flow where you are not constantly doubting yourself, because again, right, as I said, talent is not enough. Can you put your talent out there consistently? That is something that also determines whether you actually make money or not. That is also going to be a result of your inner work, right? How confident you are, how much you have worked on your limiting beliefs, how much you have worked on your unresolved trauma. So your job is to focus on this. Do not obsess about money, right? Obsess about the value. Obsess about what is the value I'm creating, how consistently am I creating it, and what could be the roadblocks that is standing between me and the value I'm creating. That is what I need to work on. That is where the real goal is, right? And I'll tell you something personally. When it comes to like having a great relationship with money, the most powerful relationship that you will ever have with money is when you're detached from it, when you do not care about it, when money is not what you're running after. The less you care about it, the more it will come to you. The more you care about the value you're creating, the more money will come to you. So your job should be to come to that place of detachment, that I don't care about money. I care about the value I'm creating, because that is what leads to money. And as I said, value could be anything. For example, we saw a lot of dancing influencers in 2019, 20 and 2021, right? So a lot of them blew up. A lot of them made a lot of money. And a lot of people criticized them as well, right? That, oh my God, these people are so stupid. They're not doing anything. And I agree, right? I don't like influencers myself. But the point is, they did something that some people found valuable, and that's why they made the money. It's so simple. So the value that you can create into this world, how consistent you're creating it, is what you need to worry about. Most people get it wrong. They worry about the money, which is stupid. Money, you are anyway going to get money if you create value. It's that simple, right? So, how do you heal your money trauma? Understand your relationship with money, heal your mother and father wound. And if you don't have clarity about where your career is going, if you don't have clarity about how am I creating value, or maybe you have clarity about what value I want to create, you don't feel confident about creating it, you need to work on that. And if you ever need help for that, I'm always here. You can just drop me a DM coaching, and we can get on a coaching call. I'm going to help you like break down what your problems are. I'm going to help you resolve it in a step by step manner. And we are going to do deep trauma work around it. Not fluffy talking, not motivating yourself nonsensically, not running behind like manifestations, but doing deep trauma work so that you can actually release the heaviness around money blocks and create an abundant landscape inside of you. Right? So as I said, right, like when it comes to manifestations as well, and this is something that I remember because I've worked with someone and she told me that, Priyanshi, I've tried so many manifestations with money and I do this every single day. I wake up at 6 a.m., I read this book and this and that and this and that. And it is not working for me. And you know what used to happen with her? She would feel guilty if she wouldn't do it for a few days. And when I heard that, I was like, who's telling you all this? Who's telling you to do this? Because if there would be some secret mantras or manifestations, don't you think we all would have done that by now? That is not how money comes into your life. It's not some tip or trick or some prayer. It is a result of your inner landscape and how that inner landscape translates into outer landscape. That is what you work on, and that is what we do when we work together in our private one-on-one coaching container. So if you're interested in working on your relationship with money, healing it, and actually having a loving relationship with money, right, where you are detached from it and you are married to the value you're creating, then you can just, as I said, drop me a DM and we're going to work together. And if you have any questions about this particular topic, feel free to again, right, drop me a DM or comment, and I'll be happy to answer. I'm going to see if we have any questions. Okay, I don't think we have any as of now, but if you do have it, you can just send it to me, and I tend to send voice notes around it. Not a very big text person, so I will send that to you, be it in LinkedIn DM or be it on WhatsApp. I have a couple of free communities that I run. If you are an aspiring coach, by the way, I also have a community called the Empowered Coach, because I also train and help aspiring coaches actually become a full-time life coach themselves and set up their own online business. And I also have a personal growth community where I write every single day and I send audio coaching there. So if you are a personal growth enthusiast, then you're going to love my community, the safe space. So you can just again join it there itself in the feature section of my profile. Thank you so much for joining, everyone, for those of you who did. And for those of you watching this as a recording, thank you so much for your time. And I hope that you took away the insights that you were supposed to take. And I hope that you will reflect. And I hope that you work on your relationship with money from a place of expansion instead of contraction. Bye bye.